Now let's speak about something that is interesting and is happening in the space right now, because while many rappers dream about owning their labels, very few actually build labels that work. One rapper has quietly done it, and it is Big Zulu through Inkabi Records. And recently the label has entered what many are calling a new era, with changes to the roster as well as a departure of one of their very key artists. Now, on the surface, Inkabi Records looks like a success story, but Big Zulu launched the label around the year 2019 and began signing artists like Umdu Mncube, Nkulu, Siantuli, as well as Ukolwa. But now, if you look a little bit closely, most of them are not rappers. They're singers. They come through with that Afro pop, they come through with that Maskandi influenced sound, they come through with that soul. Even when the label dropped the group project Inkabi Nation, the sound leaned heavily towards the melodic and traditional influences rather than hip hop, which raises a very interesting question, because why is Big Zulu basically the only rapper in his own label? Because if you look at a lot of what you could describe or define as hip-hop labels, right? Historically, rappers sign other rappers. And if you think about it, hip-hop labels often become internal competition, right? We have different egos, we got different crews, we have different sounds fighting for the same spotlight. But Big Zulu did not build Inkabi like that. Instead, he built something closer to a collective ecosystem. He's got singers, he's got storytellers, he's got melodic artists who complement his sound instead of competing with it. Now, some people might say that this is strategic, because if you are a main rapper on a label, you do not have to compete for the same audience. You remain the flagship. And maybe Big Zulu understands something that many hip-hop labels forget. Rap alone does not build sustainable labels. Songs do, hits do, and many of his biggest records coming from Inkabi have been collaborations between himself and the biggest artists and the singers from his roster. Tracks that blend with melody, tracks that cross genres, and that formula seemed to have produced serious numbers. Multiple songs connected to the label have reached platinum and multi-platinum streaming success. And here is the bigger question. Is Big Zulu really the mastermind behind Inkabi's success? Or should some or most of the credit go to the people behind the scenes? These are people like Leroy, who many in the industry believe has played an important role in the strategy side of the operation. Because let's be honest, running a successful label is not just about the talent. It's about structure, it's about strategy, it's about leadership. And that's where Inkabi Records stands out right now. While many South African hip-hop labels collapsed because of internal conflict, Inkabi seems to have built something more stable, where artists actually grow. Some eventually move on, like Umdu, who's recently stepped down to start his own venture, but the brand keeps growing, which brings us back to the bigger question for the industry. Is Big Zulu successful as a label boss because he avoided signing rappers? Or is it because he understood that building a label requires more than just hip hop? And maybe that's the real lesson over here, because in a time where many artists want to start labels just to sign their friends, Big Zulu might be one of the very few rappers in South Africa who built a label that actually functions like a business. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Big Zulu avoids signing rappers because he does not want to compete with them? Or is Inkabi Records proof that hip-hop owned labels need diverse sounds to survive today? Because your answer might say a lot about the future of South African hip-hop.